Hackman. It's great. I hadn't seen Gene in many years, 5 or 6 times in 25 years. But
Robert Duvall built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most respected actors, working alongside some of the biggest names in movie history. But behind the cameras, Duvall reportedly carried deep frustrations that stayed hidden for decades. From former friends to legendary co-stars, he eventually shared stories that painted a very different picture of life in Hollywood. So, who did Duvall say he disliked more than anyone else? And what happened to leave such a lasting impression? Join us as we uncover the reported feuds, the behind-the-scenes conflicts, and the reasons Robert Duvall said he never forgot them. Dustin Hoffman. Before they became two of Hollywood's most respected actors, Robert Duvall and Dustin Hoffman were simply two young men trying to build careers in New York City. They had no fame, no wealth, and no guarantee that their dreams would ever come true. Like many actors during the early 1960s, they spent their days going from one audition to another, taking acting classes and doing whatever they could to stay afloat financially. They reportedly shared a small apartment, divided the rent, and lived a simple life while hoping that one big opportunity would finally change everything. During those early years, the two men appeared to have a close friendship. They understood each other's struggles because they were facing the same challenges every day. Money was tight, auditions often ended in rejection, and success always seemed just out of reach. They encouraged one another, rehearsed scenes together, discussed acting techniques, and spent countless hours talking about the careers they hoped to build. According to later accounts attributed to Duval, he believed they shared a level of trust that allowed them to openly exchange ideas without worrying that either would take advantage of the other. That trust, however, reportedly began to fade as both actors started competing for many of the same parts. Since they were around the same age and working in the same acting circles, it was common for casting directors to consider both men for similar roles. Competition became part of everyday life, but Duval later suggested that what bothered him was not the competition itself. Instead, he claimed that some of the ideas he developed during his own preparation began appearing in Hoffman's performances. According to the story, Duval would spend days or even weeks working on a particular interpretation for an audition. He practiced different voices, gestures, and ways of delivering dialogue inside the apartment they shared. Since Hoffman was often nearby, he naturally heard much of this preparation. Duval later alleged that when Hoffman was called in to audition for the same role, he sometimes used very similar acting choices. From Duval's point of view, this was more than two actors thinking alike. He reportedly believed that his creative work had been copied rather than independently developed. He later suggested that there is a clear difference between being inspired by someone and simply adopting their ideas. Inspiration, in his view, meant learning from another actor while still creating something original. Imitation, on the other hand, meant taking someone else's work and presenting it as your own. Whether those events happened exactly as Duval described remains impossible to fully verify, but according to his reported recollections, these incidents marked the beginning of a much deeper disappointment. He believed the friendship had changed because trust had been replaced by rivalry. Instead of feeling that they were helping each other grow, he began feeling that every new opportunity also carried the risk of losing something he had personally created. As both men's careers slowly improved, Duval claimed that the pattern continued. One story that has often been repeated involves Hoffman seeking Duval's advice while preparing for important roles. Duval reportedly said that Hoffman frequently called him to discuss characters, accents, motivations, and different ways of approaching performances. Because they had known each other for years, Duval said he was willing to spend hours offering suggestions and sharing ideas. One example that has been linked to these claims involves Hoffman's preparation for Midnight Cowboy. According to the story, Duval believed he had helped Hoffman explore elements of the character, including aspects of the voice and personality. He reportedly viewed these conversations as friendly collaboration between two actors who respected each other's abilities. However, Duval later said he was disappointed when Hoffman discussed his preparation publicly without mentioning those conversations. Instead, Hoffman reportedly explained that he had developed the character through his own research and observations. While actors often draw from many different sources when creating a role, Duval allegedly felt that his own contribution had been completely erased from the story. For Duval, the issue was never about receiving public praise. According to his reported comments, it was about acknowledgement. He believed that recognizing the people who help shape a performance is simply a matter of honesty. When he felt that recognition never came, the disappointment grew stronger. Another event that reportedly deepened the divide involved the French Connection. Both Duvall and Hoffman were said to have been considered for the lead role before Gene Hackman was eventually cast. Losing a major role is difficult for any actor, but Duvall later suggested that what happened behind the scenes affected him even more than the final casting decision. According to these allegations, Duvall came to believe that Hoffman had spoken negatively about him during the casting process. He reportedly claimed that Hoffman described him as difficult to work with and used stories from their theater days to damage his reputation with director William Friedkin. Duvall later said he believed those conversations may have influenced how he was viewed during casting. These claims have never been conclusively proven, and Hoffman has publicly denied similar accusations over the years. Nevertheless, Duvall reportedly believed what he had been told and considered it one of the defining moments in their relationship. According to his account, the issue was no longer about creative disagreements or professional competition. He believed it had crossed into personal betrayal. Duvall later said that this was when he stopped taking Hoffman's phone calls. In his mind, the friendship had reached its end. He no longer felt comfortable sharing ideas or offering advice because the trust that had once existed was gone. Although they continued working in the same industry, their relationship reportedly became distant and formal. But Dustin Hoffman wasn't the only Hollywood legend Duvall said left him deeply disappointed. Marlon Brando. By the time Robert Duvall had begun making a name for himself in Hollywood, Marlon Brando was already considered one of the greatest actors of his generation. Brando had changed the way many people thought about acting, bringing a level of realism and emotion that influenced countless performers. Like many young actors of the time, Duvall admired Brando's work long before he ever met him. He studied his performances, respected his talent, and looked forward to the chance to work alongside someone whose reputation had become almost legendary. That opportunity came with The Chase, released in 1966. The film had an impressive cast that included Marlon Brando, Jane Fonda, Robert Redford, E.G. Marshall, Angie Dickinson, and Robert Duvall. For Duvall, being part of such a major production was exciting. He was sharing the screen with some of the biggest names in the business, and working alongside Brando was expected to be one of the highlights of the experience. According to later accounts attributed to Duvall, however, the excitement did not last very long. While he never questioned Brando's ability as an actor, he reportedly found working with him to be far more difficult than he had imagined. Duvall later suggested that Brando's reputation for brilliance came with another side that audiences rarely saw. One of Duvall's biggest frustrations reportedly involved Brando's unpredictable working style. Brando was famous for changing his performances from one take to the next. Directors often spoke about his willingness to experiment, and many admired his instinctive approach to acting. But Duvall claimed there was a point where constant changes stopped helping the film and started making production more complicated. According to Duvall's reported recollections, Brando would sometimes deliver lines differently in every take, alter his movements without warning, or react in unexpected ways that no one else had rehearsed. While some actors enjoyed adapting to those surprises, Duvall reportedly believed they created unnecessary problems for everyone involved. Filmmaking depends on continuity. When actors repeat scenes, editors need performances that can be matched together smoothly. If one actor completely changes their performance every time, it can make editing much more difficult. Duvall reportedly believed Brando knew exactly what effect his actions had on the production. In Duvall's view, these changes were not always driven by artistic reasons. He allegedly felt that Brando sometimes enjoyed proving that he had the power to control the atmosphere on set. Because Brando was already one of Hollywood's biggest stars, very few people were willing to challenge him directly. Directors, producers, and fellow actors often had to adjust around whatever choices he made. According to the claims, this behavior gradually frustrated many people working on the film. Crew members had to repeat technical work, scenes took longer to complete, and other actors struggled to prepare because they never knew exactly what Brando would do next. Duvall later suggested that this uncertainty affected everyone around him. Still, Duvall reportedly kept his opinions to himself for much of the production. As a younger actor working alongside a major star, openly criticizing Brando was not something he wanted to do. He continued focusing on his own performance while trying to adapt to Brando's unpredictable approach. The situation reportedly reached its breaking point during one particularly important scene. According to Duval's account, he was filming an emotional sequence that required complete concentration. Brando was positioned off camera while Duval delivered his lines. Duval later claimed that Brando began making quiet noises during the takes. They were reportedly subtle enough that audiences would never notice them, but loud enough to distract Duval and interfere with the recording. According to the story, multiple takes had to be repeated because the sounds kept affecting the scene. At first, Duval reportedly tried to ignore the distractions. Like most actors, he wanted to remain professional and simply finish the work. But as the interruptions continued, his patience slowly disappeared. Each repeated take increased his frustration, and he began believing the distractions were not accidental. Crew members allegedly noticed the growing tension as well. Everyone on set reportedly understood that something was wrong, but few people were willing to step into a disagreement involving Marlon Brando. His reputation, influence, and status made confronting him an uncomfortable prospect for almost anyone working on the production. After several ruined takes, Duval finally decided he had enough. According to his version of events, he confronted Brando directly and questioned why he was behaving that way during such an important scene. The response, Duval later said, stayed with him for the rest of his career. According to Duval, Brando simply smiled and replied, "Maybe you should be stronger in your choices." Whether those exact words were spoken has never been independently verified, but Duval reportedly repeated the story because he believed it perfectly captured Brando's attitude. To Duval, the comment was not constructive criticism. He interpreted it as a way of shifting responsibility away from Brando's own actions. Instead of acknowledging that his behavior had disrupted the scene, Brando allegedly suggested that a stronger actor should have been able to ignore the distraction completely. Duval reportedly saw this as more than simple confidence. He believed it reflected a pattern of behavior where Brando could create difficult situations and then frame them as someone else's weakness. In Duval's eyes, that was not artistic freedom, it was manipulation. The incident changed how Duval viewed Brando from that point forward. Although he continued respecting Brando's extraordinary talent, he no longer admired him as a colleague in the same way. The admiration that had existed before filming the chase had been replaced by disappointment. What makes Duval's reported comments especially interesting is that he never tried to deny Brando's greatness as an actor. Even years later, he continued speaking positively about Brando's performances. He openly acknowledged that Brando possessed remarkable ability and had influenced generations of actors. At the same time, Duval believed talent and personal conduct should be judged separately. Someone could deliver unforgettable performances while still creating a difficult environment for the people working around them. According to Duval, respecting Brando's skill did not require ignoring experiences that he believed reflected poorly on his behavior. The two actors would later both become part of The Godfather, although they never shared a scene together. Many viewers simply accepted that as a coincidence, but Duval's later comments led some people to wonder whether keeping the actors apart may have helped avoid reopening old tensions. There has never been public confirmation that this was the reason, but the timing has often attracted attention. Looking back, Duval reportedly said that he learned valuable lessons from watching Brando work. Some involved acting itself, but others had nothing to do with performance. He believed that success did not excuse treating colleagues poorly, and that being recognized as a genius did not place someone above professional respect. But if Duval thought working with Brando was difficult, he said his next co-star turned competition into something even more personal. James Caan. When people talk about The Godfather, they often focus on its unforgettable performances and the believable relationships between the members of the Corleone family. One of the strongest connections in the film is between Tom Hagen, played by Robert Duvall, and Sonny Corleone, played by James Caan. Although they are very different personalities, the two characters feel like real brothers who have known each other their entire lives. Their conversations, disagreements, and loyalty to one another helped make the family dynamic one of the film's greatest strengths. To audiences, their chemistry looked completely natural. Many believed Duvall and Caan must have become close friends while making the movie. Their performances felt relaxed and genuine, making every scene believable. Whether they were discussing family business or arguing over important decisions, they appeared completely comfortable working together. According to later stories attributed to Duvall, however, the reality behind the camera was very different. The casting of The Godfather brought together an extraordinary group of actors, including Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan, Robert Duvall, John Cazale, Diane Keaton, and Talia Shire. Director Francis Ford Coppola wanted every member of the cast to feel like part of the same family, and extensive rehearsals were held before filming began. During those early rehearsals, Duvall and Caan reportedly approached their work in very different ways. Duvall had developed a reputation as a careful and disciplined actor. He liked to study his characters in detail, think through every scene, and understand each person's motivations before stepping in front of the camera. His performances were built through preparation, consistency, and quiet attention to detail. James Caan, on the other hand, had a very different style. He relied heavily on instinct and energy. Rather than carefully planning every movement or line reading, Caan often preferred to react naturally in the moment. His performance as Sonny Corleone reflected that approach perfectly. Sonny was emotional, loud, quick to anger, and impossible to ignore. Different acting methods do not automatically create conflict. In many productions, actors with completely opposite styles work together without any problems. But according to Duvall's reported account, the differences between himself and Caan became a source of growing tension. Duvall later claimed that Caan was extremely competitive and constantly looked for ways to stand out during scenes. According to these allegations, Caan did not simply focus on giving a strong performance himself. Duvall believed he also tried to make sure the audience's attention stayed on him whenever possible. One example often connected to these claims involved small actions during scenes. Duvall reportedly said that whenever Tom Hagen had important dialogue, Caan would sometimes add unexpected movements, play with objects, tap his fingers, shift his body dramatically, or exaggerate facial expressions. None of these actions were necessarily large enough to interrupt filming, but Duvall allegedly believed they pulled attention away from other actors. From Duvall's point of view, these moments felt intentional rather than accidental. He reportedly believed Caan wanted to dominate every scene, even if it meant distracting from another actor's performance. Whether those actions were truly deliberate remains open to interpretation. Actors frequently make spontaneous choices while filming, especially when playing energetic characters like Sonny Corleone. Still, according to Duvall's recollections, he became increasingly convinced that the competition was becoming personal. The situation reportedly reached another turning point during production when Duvall was discussing Tom Hagen's character with director Francis Ford Coppola. Tom Hagen is one of the most thoughtful characters in The Godfather. As the family's adopted son and trusted lawyer, he approaches problems differently from Sonny. While Sonny often reacts emotionally, Tom prefers careful planning and patience. Duvall wanted to fully understand those qualities so he could make the character as believable as possible. According to the reported story, Caan interrupted one of these discussions and made a dismissive comment about Tom Hagen's role. The exact wording varies depending on the account, but Duvall later suggested that Caan referred to Tom as little more than a glorified secretary. To many people, that might have sounded like a casual joke. To Duvall, however, it reportedly showed a lack of respect for both the character and the work he was putting into the performance. Duvall believed every role deserved serious attention, regardless of how much screen time it received. Tom Hagen might not have been the loudest member of the Corleone family, but he was one of its most important voices. Hearing the character dismissed reportedly left Duvall feeling that Caan did not appreciate the same level of preparation and professionalism. According to Duvall, that moment permanently changed how he viewed his co-star. While they continued working together, he reportedly stopped trying to build any personal friendship beyond what was necessary on set. Ironically, Duvall later suggested that this growing tension actually helped improve the film. Once he accepted that his relationship with Caan would remain strained, he reportedly began using those feelings to shape Tom Hagen's behavior. Instead of trying to hide the discomfort, he allowed it to influence the way Tom interacted with Sonny. Viewers can often see Tom carefully watching Sonny before speaking, choosing his words cautiously, and reacting calmly whenever Sonny loses his temper. According to Duvall's reported explanation, those subtle choices became easier because the tension between the actors reflected the tension between the characters. Rather than hurting the performances, the disagreement unexpectedly added another layer of realism to their scenes. Sonny's aggressive personality and Tom's controlled nature felt authentic because, according to Duvall, some of that emotional distance already existed between the actors themselves. Despite the reported rivalry, both men remained professional throughout production. They continued filming together, completed difficult scenes, and helped create one of the greatest films in cinema history. Neither actor allowed personal feelings to interfere with the final product. Whatever disagreements existed behind the scenes, audiences never saw them while watching the finished film. But according to Duvall, the final name on his list wasn't just difficult to work with. He believed the public had completely misunderstood who Robert Redford really was. Robert Redford. By the early 1980s, Robert Redford had become one of Hollywood's biggest stars. He was known not only for his performances, but also for his reputation as a thoughtful filmmaker, a champion of independent cinema, and someone who cared deeply about the craft of acting. To the public, Redford represented professionalism, intelligence, and integrity. He was widely respected by audiences, critics, and many people within the film industry. When Robert Duvall signed on to appear in The Natural in 1984, he was stepping into a production led by one of the most admired actors in Hollywood. The baseball drama was expected to be a major film, and Duvall was cast as Max Mercy, a veteran sports writer who becomes one of the few people determined to uncover the truth behind Roy Hobbs, the legendary baseball player portrayed by Redford. The role of Max Mercy was important because he challenged the film's hero instead of simply admiring him. While Roy Hobbs was presented as a larger-than-life athlete, Max Mercy represented doubt, investigation, and difficult questions. Their scenes together created much of the film's dramatic tension. According to later accounts attributed to Duvall, he looked forward to working with Redford. Like many actors of his generation, he respected Redford's body of work and expected the experience to be both enjoyable and professionally rewarding. At first, there was little reason to believe anything would go wrong. However, Duvall later suggested that signs of tension began appearing early in the production. According to his reported recollections, he became increasingly frustrated with Redford's behavior behind the scenes. Duvall claimed that Redford's public reputation did not match what he personally experienced while making the film. One of the complaints Duvall reportedly raised involved delays during production. Film sets are carefully organized environments where hundreds of people work together on strict schedules. Every delay affects actors, camera crews, lighting teams, costume departments, makeup artists, and production staff. Duvall allegedly claimed that Redford sometimes kept the production waiting while attending to personal business or discussions unrelated to filming. According to Duvall, large groups of cast and crew would remain on standby until Redford was ready to continue. Whether those delays happened exactly as described has never been independently confirmed, but Duvall reportedly viewed them as a sign that Redford's position within the production allowed him to operate by different rules than everyone else. From Duvall's perspective, every member of a film crew deserved the same level of respect regardless of their job title. He had spent years building a reputation as an actor who arrived prepared, respected schedules, and treated productions as a team effort. Because of that, he reportedly found long delays especially frustrating. According to Duvall, the issue was not simply about waiting. He believed it reflected something larger about how power operated on major film productions. As the leading star, Redford naturally carried significant influence. Lead actors often have input on creative decisions, and their opinions usually receive more attention than those of supporting cast members. Duvall understood that reality, but he reportedly believed there was a point where influence became excessive. He later claimed that Redford had considerable control over various filmmaking decisions beyond simply acting in the film. According to these allegations, Redford regularly voiced opinions about scenes, editing, casting, and production choices. Many leading actors contribute ideas during filming, and directors frequently welcome creative discussions. However, Duvall reportedly believed Redford's influence extended beyond collaboration and became a way of protecting his own position within the story. That belief became even stronger as filming continued. One of the most serious claims connected to Duvall's account involved the amount of screen time given to his character. According to Duval, Redford allegedly pushed for some of Max Mercy's scenes to be shortened or removed. Duval believed these scenes added important depth to the story because Max Mercy challenged Roy Hobbs instead of simply praising him. In Duval's view, removing those moments weakened the balance between the hero and the people questioning him. He reportedly felt the film benefited from having strong supporting characters who could stand alongside the lead, rather than simply supporting him. According to the allegations, Duvall gradually became convinced that Redford saw powerful supporting performances as competition instead of as an advantage for the overall film. Whether those editing discussions happened exactly that way has never been fully verified, and filmmakers regularly adjust scenes for many different creative reasons. Still, Duvall reportedly believed the decisions reflected something more personal. He allegedly concluded that Redford preferred to remain the unquestioned center of attention and viewed any memorable supporting performance as something that could reduce his own impact on screen. As these disagreements continued, the relationship between the two actors reportedly became increasingly distant. Professional conversations remained polite, but Duvall later suggested that trust had disappeared. He no longer believed he and Redford shared the same priorities when it came to making the best possible film. Instead, Duvall reportedly felt that image and status had become more important than collaboration. According to the story, the disagreement eventually reached a more personal level after filming. Duvall later claimed that he confronted Redford about what he believed had happened during production. He wanted answers about the decisions affecting his role and the atmosphere that had developed on set. The response, according to Duvall's reported account, became one of the moments he never forgot. He alleged that Redford looked at him and said, "You're a character actor, Bob. I'm a movie star. We're not playing by the same rules." There has never been independent confirmation that those exact words were spoken, and the claim remains disputed. Nevertheless, Duvall reportedly viewed the remark as revealing Redford's true attitude toward other actors. For Duvall, the alleged statement represented more than a disagreement over one film. He believed it exposed a way of thinking in which fame placed certain people above others. Throughout his career, Duvall had earned respect by disappearing into a wide range of characters rather than relying on celebrity status. He built his reputation through consistency, preparation, and versatility, instead of chasing the image of a traditional leading man. Because of that, he reportedly found the distinction between movie star and character actor deeply disappointing. From his perspective, every actor served the same goal: telling the best story possible. The size of a role or the fame of the performer should not determine whose contribution mattered more. According to Duvall, the alleged conversation permanently changed how he viewed Redford. Interestingly, Duvall never questioned Redford's talent. He acknowledged that Redford had earned his success and delivered many memorable performances throughout his career. His criticism focused instead on what he believed was the difference between Redford's public image and his private behavior. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into Hollywood's biggest stories.